Did you have a spoon? I thought it was on your fingers. Sometimes you're trying to have me taste something.
Why on earth would I try to give you on my finger
a blop of oatmeal? I don't know. I think
cupped it in my hand and I was going to just shove it in your mouth. I was like it was ether.
Okay, so you had a spoon. I didn't see the spoon. Sorry.
I just said, hey, do you want it? And you're like, no.
Yeah.
I don't like unsolicited feedings.
Why, hello there, freak. So glad you could join us. Time to listen in on another seriously silly conversation with Gretchen and the Lukes.
Hey there.
Hey, everybody. Wow. Thank you for that rousing applause. We are glad to be back.
Hey there, Lukes.
I'm glad to be anywhere.
Nice. You're just enjoying existing.
Yeah, when you're 58, you just start to realize that maybe not every morning you're going to wake up. There's at some point, in the next, I'm hoping it's like, the next, say, 32 years, I'll wait till I'm 100. But still, it's, that we're narrowing down the number of days where waking up is a possibility.
Wow. That's both positive and terrifying at the same time.
Well, it depends on what you think of death.
Yes, that's true. And you're right. It's not to be taken for granted, I guess. Well, not I guess. It isn't to be taken for granted that we wake up every day.
We do. That's the funny thing until somebody, passes away and then you realize, oh, whoa, it's not just old people that die. Like different people die. Martin Mull just died. That was a big shock for me. Martin Mull, the actor and comedian. And I was like, oh, man, I met that guy. I met him.
Odd Couple?
Martin Mull, no.
Who's the other one in the Odd Couple that's not Felix? Oh, that's not Martin Mull.
Oh, that's Oscar Madison was the name of the character, and that was what's his name?
It's okay. I shouldn't ask a random name question, but I can't put Martin Mull in my mind.
Martin Mull was he did. Oh man, I should have found out. Oh man, you're Fernwood Tonight. He did Fernwood Tonight, which was a
I don't even know. I don't even recognize things even when people answer. I don't know why I asked you that question.
I'm not sure why either. I think you were trying to see if I knew Martin Mull. I just very quickly. This is something that's worth talking about. Whenever a famous celebrity dies, what you see on social media, which always makes me laugh and also makes me just like, oh, we are so ridiculous, is you always see people put up pictures of themselves with that famous person. And I have a picture of myself performing with Martin Mull at Disney when I was a host there. I interviewed him for the Star a Day, and they would bring in a star to do the handprint ceremony.
Oh,
and
got it.
It would be, Martin Mull came in and they gave the guy like $20,000 at the time. It was a lot of money, but like $20,000 to come in for a day or two with his family. They fly his family in and him in, and they put him up, and then he just has to like spend an hour a day doing the ceremony. And then we interview him and ask him, what do you recommend somebody who's getting in the business do to be what you are?
Yeah.
And he was very nice and very polite. And I met him, and I had my dad happened to be there at for that particular show and took pictures of it. So I have pictures of me with Martin Mull. And so my first thought when I heard that Martin Mull passed, R.I.P., is that I should put that picture up. And then the second thought I had was, are you fucking kidding me? I hate when people do that. Here's me and Martin Mull. Now that he's dead, I'd like to use that as clout to get clicks.
Do you think that's why people are doing it? I mean,
I don't know that
I'm curious why it bothers you, or
because I feel like they're doing it for clout. They're doing it because they're like, oh, someone big died. I have a picture of myself with them. How do I make it about me? Oh, I know. I'll show that picture, and then everybody who's concerned with Martin Mull dying will now say, oh, Mike Lucas, Martin Mull. I didn't know you knew. Oh, and then it'll somehow pull the attention to me, and social media is all about that.
Yeah. Huh.
So I just laughed at my impulse to do that. I was like, God, I hate that. And then here I am wanting to do that. The first thing.
But say like.
Oh, by the way, I got 16,000 clicks on that picture.
You went ahead and did it.
No, I didn't. I actually didn't.
Well, I guess I figure that say anybody passes, to me then the explosion of pictures of people with that person is sort of like just a big collage of the life they lived and the amount of people that they touched and knew and affected.
Well, that's a more positive way to look at
that. Like, say if it's a family member, somebody that you know dies and they are not famous, I feel like it would be, I don't know, like people might put up pictures of like,
That's
oh my
different.
gosh, here was us, we did this and brownies.
I think I never get upset by that.
So the idea of sharing pictures of someone who's passed with, you're saying it's because someone's famous that they know the name and their thing will get people to click and look?
Yeah, the only person I think, like say when Frank Sinatra died.
Yeah.
And Tom Dreesen, who opened for him for like 30 years of his career and was one of his dear friends, he put up some pictures of the two. That's perfectly acceptable. That's a friend of mine passed, and I'm paying tribute to my buddy, my
no
friend.
Fan pics is what you're saying. No, like I happen to get this little. I took a selfie after a concert, and I'm gonna put it up there.
And now I get to get clout because I just happen to have this picture. It just feels like that. Now I like the way you're looking at it because you have a much more optimistic view of human nature. You're looking at it as a tribute to the star, and perhaps that's in their mind why they put those up there, because they think that that's what that is. But it comes across to me as somebody who's looking to get clout off of somebody else's death because you didn't really know them.
Yeah, I could understand that. I mean, first of all, I will need to state again that as of this moment and always so far, I have zero social media.
Right.
So I can't really speak on it.
Aren't you going to be doing some social media stuff soon?
I mean, I guess. I mean, I'm going to try.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That sounds really, really like you have a real love for this, that you're really going to go for it.
I think.
Yes. I don't know. Maybe.
Like I feel like I have about 3 Facebook accounts that have been made.
Yeah.
But each one, I've not gone back to try to get on it for such a long amount of time that I don't know the password.
I've made you 2 of those.
Yes.
I have the passwords.
You do?
I've had them the whole time. Yeah, I write them down.
Even from like an old Facebook?
Probably.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, what people like me do
I don't
is
know how to get into it.
We write them down, and then that way when we forget them, the next time we show up, we look to where we write down our passwords, and then we just copy and paste it from there.
How do you know where the place is what you wrote it down on is?
Because it's a file in my computer that says password backup. So I just look up password backup on my search, and then it finds that file, and I pick it right up.
Maybe it's because I don't have a
computer. Does this sound like a okay, yep.
Or
okay.
I mean, is that maybe that's one of the issues? I don't really think so.
It is
because I often won't want to go turn my computer on for days and days. So I don't know. I mean,
you're a special case.
Well, I'm just I don't know what happens in the password realm where I lose track of it.
You don't know
and can't find it.
Where do you put them?
When I change the password.
Like for instance,
now I'm like,
where did you put the password for that Facebook?
Oh, I don't know. That's why I've never gotten back on.
Well, where do you put all your passwords?
I don't have a designated place.
Well, there you go. That's the problem.
I try to make them all just the same thing, which I know is very bad.
That's horrible.
Yeah, but I figure, well, I mean.
What do you figure? Well, no one wants your banking?
Yeah. Well, I figure how, I'm just trying to like have a shot at getting back in the stuff I set up. It feels like passwords are tricky, and remembering stuff is very tricky.
It's not if you have a system. You don't have. That's the problem I think with the ADHD people is you folks fail to have systems in place, and then when you do put systems in place because you're going to make a big change, you don't have systems to keep track of your systems.
Yeah, I agree.
That's the big part. That right there, because.
And in defense of us, I would also say we are always in the process of trying to create new and better systems for everything.
Well, you only need one.
Which may also be part of the problem.
One. And the problem is you're doing a bunch. You have to have the one, and then you just rely on it. And you're always shifting it around. And then you don't, like I've noticed that sometimes you don't follow up on your systems. Like you don't check in with them every day.
No, I don't.
Yeah. Well, that's the problem. Like that's why people can keep track of that stuff is they check in every day.
Oh my God, though. See,
right?
yeah,
already
that's
I see you covering. You're covering your eyes as if you have an oncoming headache. And we haven't even done anything yet. We've just simply talked about it. Good Lord.
I know.
Oh God! Password file.
I mean, have you ever
search
blanked out on basic passwords that you know by heart? Do you ever forget
I don't know
those?
any of mine by heart.
I'm talking like at the ATM or something. Like something as simple as that, like to use your bank card.
I've blanked on that. Like it's like forgetting a line in a play.
Yes,
and then it's because you're thinking too hard about it. I have this thing. My dad has this too, so I know it's not. My dad doesn't do any drugs, any recreational drugs, so I know that it's not because of my recreational drug use that I have this problem. Because he has the same problem, which is memory recall of names, of specific names that you're trying to get at. Now, he and I are both very smart about knowing all these names. Maybe they're physicists, maybe they're old presidents or vice presidents, or maybe it's just the name of a food that you're trying to think of. And then we'll say to each other, oh, you know what I just ate? I had some, what's the green thing that has the spears? And then he'll be like, oh, you mean like broccoli? I'm like, no, not the broccoli. It's the
asparagus.
Other one. Well, then see, you would come in and just say asparagus and it would be over with. But my dad and I
you would
go
just
through
be like, more like collard greens.
I don't know. You know what?
Celery.
And then 20 minutes later, he'll get a text and it'll say asparagus. And then he'll be like, oh, yeah, that's right. And, or he'll get 10 minutes later, he'll get a text that says William Howard Taft. And be like, oh, that's the guy we were trying to think of.
And is that you sending him the text?
Or him sending me the text.
Or him sending you the text.
One of us will remember it and it'll hit us. And so we're both exactly like that. So it's kind of funny because I always thought it was because of my recreational drug use, from smoking marijuana and taking other mind-altering substances in my youth. And I thought, oh, man, I did some permanent damage to my records keeping system. And then it turns out it's just genetic.
Yeah.
It's a foundational problem, Gretchen. I have a foundational problem.
Is that what something genetic is called, a foundational problem?
That's what I'm calling it.
It makes sense to me.
The foundation of my entire existence.
I like it. I like the logic of that. Well, I definitely can relate to memory situations because part of the ADHD wiring system comes with the package. You get a small dose of short-term memory. Sometimes you have. I don't even know that it's limited to that. It's
you have amnesia every day you wake up.
I have all kinds of.
It's like you have to start over every day.
Memory gaps, issues. I guess I don't know. I feel. I think this is, but I've always been this way. So it isn't terrifying. The idea of beginning to lose your memory or when you lose things. I feel like the combination of always being this way, very ADHD my whole life. Well, that's the only way you can be it. It's not like you don't acquire it. You just either are or aren't.
Yeah, and then you never get rid of it.
And it's either like mild or more extreme, and then you just like work with it, you dance with it, or you hate it, or you fight against it. But it's just always there.
Yeah, ADHD has a spectrum, and your part on the spectrum is you're like the atlas underneath it, holding the entire spectrum. That's how much involved in that spectrum you are. You're like, I am ADHD. I have it full.
I feel like yes.
My gas tank is on. My ADHD tank is on full at all times.
All time. Yeah, I feel like it's like the one thing I fully excel in.
Yeah, you're great at it, by the way.
Being super ADHD.
You are so great.
All the time, everywhere, every day.
You give it 110% all the time. And what is 110%? You're like, I don't know. I have ADHD. That's a number.
I refuse to quantify existence. There's no room for nuance and magic. But so combined with having this sort of wiring system with my memory, and then I also had my years of absolute insane drinking throughout in my 20s, where you have big blackout chunks.
Yeah,
where I would say that I would, if I ever wrote a book about my sobriety.
I'm not familiar with that. What is that? What does that talk? Tell me, describe that for me.
That I would call it, my life in blackout as told by friends and innocent bystanders.
People who, can I get a witness?
Because it would be those, I would truly the next day I would operate in blackout a lot.
Wow.
I definitely was very good at being an alcoholic. I mean, not very good at being an alcoholic, but
sounds like you were excellent.
I think I had all the genetic makeup anyway to be prone to addiction, and then also with the lack of impulse control and reckless behavior and sort of things. It just was a big, crazy combination. But it didn't scare me. maybe that should scare me, that it didn't scare me. It would just be this bizarre unfolding the next day as I saw different people that I had seen the night before.
Hey,
and
look at you. There you are. How you doing today?
And they would tell me stories like, oh my gosh, can you believe that actually went down with the taxi driver last night? And I would be like, yeah, right. Well, how was it for you? Tell me and they would tell it. And I would just have to trust that. I would feel like, it sounds like me. Like, I bet that's true. I bet I did that. I bet that was me.
Boy, there's some red flags right there.
Oh, like if you're a person and you're looking at me, like I'm a red flag.
Or if you're a person and it's your life, you would be like, wow, I'm blacking out quite a bit. This might be a red flag as to my behavior might not be acceptable in the norms of society and even my ability to just function as a human who has a living. And
it seemed, though, like it was working fine.
Yeah, of course, you're in your 20s.
I mean, and I was bartending was my job.
Oh, well, there you go.
Right? And so at night,
you got that
and
discount,
bartending and,
that five-finger discount on the tequila.
It just felt like part of the lifestyle. And I didn't have any kids. I didn't have any, I was trying not to have any pets, nothing, just me.
I knew you were a drunk when you told me that your favorite people to drink with were the busboys.
Yes.
It was like, not the band.
Those are my friends.
I'm talking about the staff. That
at the restaurant that I worked at.
Yeah, busboys are like notoriously huge partiers.
Yeah, and they start way, way later.
Yeah.
So even after the wait staff and some of the other bartenders would fizzle out, and what I would begin shouting, "Lame friends, lame!"
Oh, you're that person.
It's only 4 a.m. Where are you guys going?
Oh my
Where you
God.
going? And then, but by then, back at the kitchen staff, all the bus boys and the cooks would be finished cleaning the kitchen, doing all of their after-hours work. And it was perfect timing. I'd just be there. I'd come back in for another early morning round.
Wow.
Just be like, all right, orale, let's go, but not aggressive. I remember they would come back to my apartment. We would just all bring some beers back and just keep it rolling as the sun came up. I loved it.
It was you had drinking as a second language.
Yes, because you're all just getting to such a state where you don't need words. You're just like, we
are here for our common love of alcohol. Join us in the church of consumption.
It's crazy to think about because I really did. I loved drinking. Yeah. I loved it too much and too fast. It's like I think I drank up my lifetime of booze by the time I was 28, which truly is when I had to get sober, and I've been sober ever since. So It's weird to even reminisce and think about it because that's like. Is that 30 years ago?
No, that'd be like 22 years ago.
Okay, 22 years ago.
Yeah, math.
Maybe I did something to the old mind. I don't know.
Oh, right,
I did have a bit of the wet
51.
brain.
Just quit when you were 28.
Probably not all
38,
the ADHD.
48, 23 years maybe it was.
Oh, yeah. Well, yes, I've been a non-drinker for quite a while. But I remember it fondly. I definitely do.
The only time I've seen you drink a couple of times, and it's never gone well. Like when we first started dating, you get the most tremendous headaches I've ever seen. Like, the joke is when you get hungover, you get that headache that, like stop walking. I can hear you from the other, or whatever. I can hear your heartbeat. Stop. Can you just quiet that down? Gunk 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 gunk.
Yeah.
And you got headaches way worse than that, and it would last for days.
Yeah, because my body is what finally put the shutdown on it. Because and then it took all the joy away. Where anytime I would literally try to drink anything, it was almost as if my liver wasn't processing it, and I got immediate blood alcohol. Like that's how it felt. And so I'd have horrible headaches.
That's what it smelled like too.
A full day
you had
at least.
Hobo breath, where you can
horrible.
Smell the alcohol.
And I would be throwing up blood. I mean, it was horrible. So I had to accept that. I had to just fully accept that and just not drink anymore. But when I was going at it, I was very good at it.
Yeah,
very enthusiastic.
You are 110% when you go for things.
Right, I am extra. Whatever it is, I would do it a lot.
Although there's some things I
won't even do at all.
Yeah, like one thing
like get the mail.
Get the mail.
No, I
was thinking more like unsolicited feedings.
Oh.
You will not.
I don't. I know what you're talking about.
I just tried to do that yesterday.
You tried to You came up out of nowhere,
right,
shoving something in my face.
I wouldn't shove anything in your face. I had some delicious oatmeal that I'd made. I've been doing this thing my sister taught me, where you do overnight oatmeal, where you put it in the container with milk and raisins and frozen fruit and honey and chia seeds if you have them, and then it makes the oatmeal taste soft and delicious the next day. You could heat it up or you could have it cold. And I was like, well, this is delicious. And I got a spoonful with a little bit of oatmeal in it and a couple of raisins and a strawberry.
Did you have a spoon? I thought it was on your fingers. Sometimes you're trying to have me taste something.
Why
and
on
you're holding
earth would I try to give you on my finger
a blop of oatmeal? I don't know. I think
cupped it in my hand and I was going to just shove it in your mouth. I was like it was ether.
Okay, so you had a spoon. I didn't see the spoon. Sorry.
I just said, hey, do you want it? And you're like, no.
Yeah.
I don't like unsolicited feedings. And I was like, oh, sorry. I didn't realize this was an unsolicited feeding. Like I'm at the zoo and I'm trying to get the koala to chow down on some bamboo.
Oh, you're right. I did say that. I guess I look at it that way. Unsolicited feedings. That's a weird thing to say.
I'm just trying to give you a taste of something delicious. I don't want that in my mouth right now. I'm drinking coffee. Why would I want that in my mouth? I'm like, I don't know, because it's tasty and I wanted to share it with you. And
I do have that reaction often if somebody will just say, here, taste this. And also the food, they're always pushing it towards you. I feel threatened. I feel like that's why I feel maybe attacked by food offering.
I feel that way if someone holds their finger at me and says, "Smell this." I won't do that. Smell
I guess
my finger.
that must be what I'm feeling. Maybe when you're handing food towards me, because it feels like
yeah, but smell my finger
like
is
it's
like
out of nowhere.
You might have poked that finger somewhere gross, and now I have to smell that. It's different than here's a spoonful of lasagna. I thought might be tasty to you.
Oh my gosh! But see, just that, like, how can I know? Like, surprise lasagna, like, ooh, it's almost like I need to have a heads up of like, oh, mouth, yeah, what, Gretch, what kind of flavors are we having right now? What are we vibing with? You know, ooh, we're doing coffee, ooh, maybe even a smoothie. We're doing liquid things, sweet things, maybe a little hint of the bitter coffee under my tremendous amounts of creamer and milk. All right. And then I just am walking through the house, my guard totally down. I don't think people are going to be putting aromas or textures or flavors like at my face, asking me on the spot a direct question, which already gets me like, what? And so then all of a sudden it's like, taste this lasagna. And my head is like, whoa, it's got strong tomato, garlic, onion, noodles, meat, textures, things like, and I love lasagna. I'm even a lasagna fan. It's the surprise element where I'm like, I just don't think I can shift gears and get into lasagna mode. I don't know.
It makes you angry.
Well, Well, just for a split second. I won't stay mad all day if someone tries to surprise feed me.
No, but you it's like as if it was as if I flicked it at your face. As if I had pulled the spoon back and went boop. And then try to get it in your mouth.
I do experience a momentary disgust, and maybe I even have a bit of a like, how dare you?
Yeah, it was a bit of a how dare you.
Ew, the audacity.
You think I would want breakfast during the morning?
Ugh.
I'm drinking coffee. That's my breakfast.
And yeah, I don't know why, but it does throw me.
That's all right. Well, now I know that. Now I won't do that.
Or
I'll text you 5 minutes in advance. And I'll just say,
there.
Dear Gretchen's Mouth, I will be approaching you within 5 minutes with something that's a little bit savory.
You need to first ask for permission to approach.
Right?
Just
dear
consent
Gretchen's
for
Mouth,
everything. Consent.
Permission to approach. We're waiting for the text return from your mouth. Waiting. Dear Gretchen's Mouth, I just sent you a text. Did you see it? Permission to approach.
Oh, I'm sorry, Luke. I should be more clear. I mean, in your heads up text that I'm about to offer you some food to eat,
right?
In there, I mean, it's like, would you?
That's what I'm doing right now. I'm texting it.
Yes, but in the text, you don't have to ask permission to text me to approach with the question. Just like permission, or just like, hey, Gretchen.
Go ahead. I'm writing this all down.
Do you?
Ahead. No permission.
I'm making a lasagna in here. It tastes pretty good. would you like to have? I mean, actually,
That's kinda
can
what
I
I
just
do.
be left out? I mean,
No, I'm just not
I'd
going
like
to
to
offer
be-
you a taste
yeah.
of it until and then.
But
food
I
is
like
so,
lasagna. When I eat it, I will gladly give you it's about making the oral shift of like, whoa, I'm just not ready to be
That's so
chewing right
funny.
now.
Like,
if I'm
the-
just
the
doing
oral
swallowing.
shift. I'm not ready to be chewing. These are not sentences that normal humans say.
Are you sure?
Yeah, every one of us eats food. Every
Oh,
one of
me
us.
too.
Well, no, rarely. You're like a weird food eater. Like I'm shocked that
give you
now
that.
you sit down to eat with us at dinner. Like that's a really big deal for you, because typically if you're not in the mood to eat, you have no appetite. And then when you're in the mood to eat, you eat, and then you eat until you're full. And then when you're full, you don't eat again until you're hungry. And then like, it's not the way most people handle, especially Americans. We're just kind of like, you know what? I'm going to eat because it's 6 o'clock. Are you hungry? That doesn't matter. It's 6. I'm going to eat. That's when I eat dinner.
Oh.
Yeah.
But
might
when
not
you
have
said
known
it
that.
though, it just sounds so it sounds reasonable. When you first you said I have a weird eating, but then when you lay it out like you don't eat until you feel hungry, and then when you're hungry, you eat till you're
but
full.
that's tough to.
It feels like that could be all right.
How do you plan a family meal around that? It's like, when's mom gonna start to feel a little hungry? Oh, tonight it's at 8:30. Oh, tonight it's at 5. Oh, tonight it's at 3.
I guess because I asked the kids too. Hey, anybody hungry? Anybody hungry yet? Y'all hungry?
But you came
Anybody
from
hungry?
a weird food family, anyways. I remember the
I
first
fed
time.
the children. Since we had them though, I did lots. I fed them way more than I didn't hold them hostage until I felt hungry. I fed the kids.
No, you always
plenty.
did that.
We always try
For
to
sure.
feed them,
For sure.
feed them,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then
that wasn't.
But then
an issue.
it's hard to eat if I'm not feeling hungry. That's just a weird thing to do. And then I don't know if you can. I just eat only when I feel hungry. To me, that makes sense in my head.
Well, that makes total sense. You come from a weird food family, anyways. Though I remember the first time I visited here, and when your father was still alive, and he was a great grill master. He loved to grill meat.
Yeah.
And so, in my home,
Got the protein
right up in Cleveland, when we would eat, we would have somebody would be the grill master, and then people would bring items of food. So you'd have say hamburger, hot dog, steak, chicken, whatever it was you were eating off the grill. But then you'd have potato salad. You might have coleslaw. You might have some chips. You might have a regular salad. You might have some deviled eggs. You might have some dips.
I love all those foods.
Right, aren't
by
they
the way,
great?
that you
Yeah.
mentioned. I love food.
So I come to your barbecue, after having known you for maybe 2 or 3 months, and I got to meet your family, and then your dad was like done with the meat. He puts it on the table, and it says, "There's the meat," and then everybody just kind of went in and grabbed a piece of meat off the plate, and that was the whole barbecue.
I don't think it was technically a barbecue. He was just making the daily or weekly meat. But you probably thought it was going to be a barbecue because you see a man grilling and you think, surely I'm meeting these people for the first time. Surely there's going to be a barbecue.
It had all the clues of a barbecue. There was someone barbecuing. That was the first sign. And it was just so funny to me. I was just like, whoa. And then it was kind of like you're on your own for everything else, is what he said.
Yeah. And
I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Well, this is certainly interesting, and I was just I ate the meat. It was delicious. It was excellent. I think he made chicken that day. It was very good, and then he had some hamburgers, and it was well done. I mean, not well done. I mean, it was done well.
Yeah,
It was probably a medium rare, but it was done. It cooked well, and there were no buns.
Oh, that's
there was
crazy.
No condiments.
Yeah.
It was just
we are batshit crazy.
Yeah,
in a lot of areas, my family.
Yeah, well, I mean, I love your family, and I love their craziness, but that just took me by surprise because I didn't realize the nature of the craziness just yet. I was still slowly falling in love with you, and not even realizing the nature of your craziness just yet. I don't think
not even the tip of the iceberg. You probably didn't know yet.
Iceberg on the stern side. Iceberg on the stern. It's too late. It's too late. We're going down. All hands on deck. We have an emergency. There's only meat. There's no buns? No. No condiments? No. What about coleslaw? Oh, my God. Aren't you getting this? There's nothing. It's meat.
It's meat.
A plate of meat.
It is meat. You can. Yep, you're on your own.
You're on your own if you want. Do you want forks?
You can pillage around in the
fridge. You're on your own.
There's
How about a knife?
You're
on your own. I don't know where they keep them. That doesn't matter. Look what everyone else is doing. They're holding it in their hands and gnawing it.
That's what I would just grab a piece of chicken.
Why are you eating it like that? Because otherwise we have to wash the dishes afterwards. I'm not washing a dishwasher. Fork. Oh my God. I love it. My family would be horrified. They would just be standing there like, what is this? My mom would just be like, I'll be right back. She'll go to like KFC and get some coleslaw and some potato salad and some forks, some sporks.
Yeah, and we, I would say that the thing with us would be that we can sometimes we'll have meals where we put out all the things. It's just the idea of doing it all the time, though. I mean, and you know what? Actually, what you just said also, it frustrates my sister, too, a lot. It frustrates her. Yeah, the way that our family is with food, where she started to institute this thing, like a gathering called a Quicknick. And because, since we're all adults now and people living in their own lives, you have to almost plan or have things that make a family get together. Otherwise, you're just busy with your life. You never see anybody. So my family started this was before we moved back here to Texas, but they started having Quicknicks where my two brothers, my sister, my mom, they would all meet up at the lake.
I've been to one of those Quicknicks.
And just have a little, gathering and a little bit of food, And it went on, I guess, for a few times. It was going well, and because my sister he's been trying to get us to incorporate more normal and better options of food at our gathering. So it isn't just the meat. I'm saying you're not the only one who's noticed like the weirdness. But me and my two brothers,
you're fine,
are very weird. Yeah, and so it was one of my brothers that even said to her, he goes, for the next Quicknick, he's like, what if we do this, but just without the food, without all the worry of the food, of what are we bringing to this Quicknick, And my sister's like, that is literally the point. I'm trying to get us to practice eating better in groups.
It's hard. I don't like this.
And it just made me laugh because I could see my brother and I could feel where he's coming from. Where it's like, I'm so want to go hang at the lake, but the idea of what am I going to bring to this Quicknick this time? What are we bringing this time? I feel like
that doesn't seem like that big of a deal. You're acting like, what do I bring to this Quicknick? What could possibly be something I could bring? This is the hardest decision I've ever had to make. A bag of chips, some potato salad, something that people enjoy eating, brownies. I don't know. And maybe there's a list that Kanita, your sister, has that she's putting together so that we all have an item. I guess it does get a little complicated.
That makes us feel like yeah. Anyway, she said no. We have the food stays because this is literally the point.
Yeah.
But we haven't had a Quicknick in a while. See, that's
no,
the problem.
It has
Family's
been a
like,
while.
well, then screw it.
I'm
not making a chip food decision. I'll just rather not see you, family.
Right.
Which that's But I mean, it is weird. Yeah, there's no way I'm going to sit here and try to say that anything about my family is typical. Nothing about my family is it's probably not normal.
Well,
a lot of it is even quite strange.
That makes me
be us.
more proud of you for sitting down with us and having a meal. Like just last night, we had a nice spaghetti dinner with the salad, and you sat down with us. And the thing that I notice about you, though, and this is not to pick on Gretchen's show, but
no, it's all right. I know what it is.
But the three of us, we're a family of four, and the three of us. Well, first I'll get done eating first because I wolf my food down.
You are like a wolf.
And then typically it'll be our son that finishes next because he tends to wolf his food down a little bit, and then our daughter will be the third because she eats with a little more grace than I do. She doesn't vacuum clean it up. But then the two of them are usually done about the same time. And then we look over and there's you, just the exact same pile of food still on your plate, and you're chewing, but you're still
chewing the whole time.
The whole time chewing that first bite still. You're like going 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 100, 101, 102, 103. Okay, now on the right side. 1, 2, 3. And it's like you're digesting your food in your mouth like you're supposed to, and it makes me sick. I do 1-2 bites, swallow. 1-2 bites, swallow. Let's go. Let's get this food in the system. It's like at the gas tank. You don't sit there and swirl the gas around the top of your car tank. You put it in and you fill it up, and that's what I do with my meals.
Yeah,
and you're just so different.
I guess I look at my digestive system slightly different than the gasoline system of a car, maybe, and how you put it in.
And then, God forbid, if I should ask you a question or talk to you while you're eating, because then the grossest thing in the world happens. Again, not to pick on
Are
you.
you sure?
But this is what happens. I'll say, hey, Gretchen, what do you think about maybe tomorrow we can go to the park for a walk with our dog? And then you'll be chewing, so then you'll take the food that's in your mouth. Instead of swallowing it because, it's been in there for the last 20 or 30 minutes. And
it's not chewed enough times.
It's not chewed enough, I get that. So what you do is you chipmunk the food. I call it you chipmunk.
Yeah,
so
like dip.
You put it in like
pocket
like
it, like a little tobacco dip.
Yeah, like a little tobacco. A little lasagna tobacco and little spaghetti and meatball tobacco. And you got that in and then I could see a little round, it looks like a little round pouch in your mouth and like it's a nut, like you're a chipmunk storing a nut for the winter. And you're like, oh, I guess tomorrow.
Well,
then you'll talk.
Oh, yeah.
And answer the question, but with that little thing, and then I'll see you like almost like it could be like a cud.
Yeah.
And then you pull it back in and you start chewing again, and I want to throw up.
So what do you guys do when someone asks you a question and you have food in your mouth?
You put your finger up,
swallow it.
You put food up for a second, and do a couple more chews, and then you swallow it. Well, most of us don't take this much time to chew as you do.
I remember whenever learning that they recommend that you chew a food. I believe wasn't it 100 times? Or was that just Are you sure?
I'll look it up.
Yeah. I feel like somehow I remember learning a weird fact and going how it's best for your digestive system if you chew your food 100 times. Maybe it's that you're supposed to brush your hair with 100 strokes. Maybe I've got the numbers confused. Maybe it's not 100. But I'm not counting when I'm chewing. But I literally can't swallow my food until it feels chewed up enough.
Some say you should chew 30 to 50 times per bite for optimal digestion and oral health, while others recommend chewing 32 times. Not 30 times, not 33 times, 32 times.
32 times.
Why is it 32? 16 on the left, 16 on the right.
Yep, that's true. And 32, 3 and 2 equals 5, which then matches the 50 of 32 to 50. 32. 30. I don't know. See, I don't know.
You're trying to be impressive with numbers, and you're not even making sense. 50 would be 25 on the left, 25 on the right.
Yeah, but I was saying yeah. Well, so not 100 times, but I don't think I'm chewing 100 times.
You're literally doing it twice as long as they recommend at the highest level. So 50 would be the most that they recommend, and you're doubling that.
I make my food where it could go in someone's feeding tube if it needed to. It could be ready to go right through a feeding tube.
I'm gonna throw up.
It's liquefied.
Like, how can you have that in your mouth? Now it's warm. It's liquid. And then you're just like swallow. You're drinking your lasagna.
Well, like what happens though if I try? I've tried because I've been. I wouldn't say accused because it's very true. So I've been noticed throughout my life as being a slow eater. People call me a slow eater.
No.
And so I have experimented with seeing what can I do to get this whole eating thing to go faster. And I've tried to chew less times and just swallow.
What happens?
It's like my throat rejects it. It's like it feels like, what are you doing? This is not ready yet. It's a totally uncomfortable experience swallowing food that I feel isn't chewed enough.
Hey, teeth. Well, do your job up there. Throat here is tired of taking your bull. If it's 50 times on the left and 50 times on the right. We know math.
We do everything extra. Chew like you used to drink. Balls to the walls. Go full on 100 chews. And so the whole reason why I have to pocket it over there like a chipmunk or a dipper is because if I waited until I could swallow that bite to answer the question, it's awkwardly long. This is why I often prefer to just eat my food by myself so I can just get the eating done.
Yeah, you just spend 2 hours by yourself to eat your tiny slice of toast.
I don't know. I don't think it takes me that long, but I don't track time, so maybe it does. I don't know. But I mean, I just know that I'm trying to eat. I get that I have to eat, and I just have to chew it till I feel ready to swallow.
That's such a weird
personal
attitude.
thing,
I
guess.
get that I have to eat. Like most people are like, oh my God, I get to eat. I love food. Food tastes so good. If I get good food.
Well, and I love food too. That's the thing.
I have to eat.
I love food. I love all different kinds of food.
I know I'm required to eat by law.
You know what it is? I have nothing against food, and I do like to eat food.
Food's like, well, thank God.
But you know what it is, Mike? It's the repetitive nature. See, I don't like to do many things in a row. I don't like to repeat things. That becomes a struggle. So the idea, eating, I like it as an event. I do wish that eating could occur when I'm in the mood for it, because then it's so wonderful.
When are you in the mood for it, though?
When I get hungry and I'm like, oh, wouldn't this be nice? Or like, ooh, I'm gonna go to a
You know what you
dinner or
remind me
something.
of?
Or try, have Korean barbecue today. That's gonna be fun. Something's got to be new.
You know what you remind me of?
What?
A camel. A camel just drinks and drinks and fills its hump up.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't drink or do anything until it's thirsty again. And it uses that water. I'm not sure how long a camel can last without in between its nurturing.
Depending on the size of its hump, I guess.
Yeah. And so that's what you remind me of. You eat like a camel drinks.
Yeah, I guess so.
Good for you.
Aren't I allowed to do that?
Apparently,
Anti-camel
you've
that?
been doing it your whole life. Yeah, you are.
And like sitting down with the family, what I like about that is that I like the activity of us doing that.
Well, you know the rule is that whoever's last has to clean up the dishes.
That is so not fair. Oh. But hey, if you cook, I'll clean. Well, actually, last night, thank you. You cooked and cleaned.
Yeah.
That was very nice.
Boy,
I better make sure I tell you you're nice.
I am such a catch.
That was very, very nice of you. I appreciated it. I did finish that plate of spaghetti.
Did you
I
really?
am always the last one.
I have leftovers left in my refrigerator. I took way too much than I thought I could eat.
But I got to say, I was pretty excited when when the trend of intermittent fasting started becoming a thing. Because it's just how I naturally do it anyway.
Yeah.
I just gonna do what I do, and then eventually it'll come out like,
This is a
turns out
fad.
this was genius. Yes, best way to do it.
Turns out this idiot was a genius.
We all thought she was an idiot.
But she only operates like one.
She eats when she's hungry. What a fool.
What a fool.
What a fool, cried all my American peers. Except for the ones that hear me and agree with me and eat the way I eat when I'm hungry.
Good for you.
Anyway, just no accidental feedings because I just might not be ready.
Hey, do me a favor. Smell my finger.
God. I could probably make a nasal shift quicker than I could make a whole, we're going to do this now. Yeah.
Just as a warning, don't smell my finger.
Don't.
Yeah, I know where it's been.
Okay, true. That was a joke. Okay, you were joking. I won't.
Hey.
You hungry? I want to get something to eat?
I could eat.
Let's go.
Thanks for the conversation.
Thank you.
We'll do it again.